I'm David Griffin. It's the 16th of January 2018 and I'm here in Chesterfield to talk to
Chris Marples.
Chris, thanks for joining us again. We talked in a previous interview about your formative years, and we've kind of got you now to the point where you've explained to your careers master that probably hairdressing is not for you and you'd like to be, and you're going to be, a professional sportsman, a professional footballer, a professional cricketer. So when was the point at which you realised, right, I'm going to get paid for doing this now? Who signed you on? And
yeah, I think the first time regarding football, I think it was when I was 14 and I signed schoolboy forms with Rotherham, and that was good. So I was training twice a week, playing on a weekends. Got a couple of second team games, reserve team games in as well. The Northern Intermediate side, which we used to travel all north. So that was that time, and I thought, right, this is what I want to do.
Any footballing superstars in your early career that you were coming across?
Well, there was one. It was when I was coming up to 16 to leave school. Obviously, they have to make a decision, and the manager at that time was Ian Porterfield.
All right,
the guy
Sunderland.
the Sunderland guy who scored
FA Cup winning,
FA Cup winning goal. So he was the manager, and he broke my heart. He turned round to me and he said, "You know, you're not going to make it. Unfortunately, you're not good enough. You're not going to make it. I'd like you to go away and prove me different." And I remember that we were playing Leeds United at that time, and in their side was John Lukic at the So I remember playing him as in the Northern Intermediate League, and later Dave Seaman, who was at Leeds.
Really?
He was a Rotherham schoolboy, as it happened, and I was playing for Rotherham at that time. He'd gone up to Leeds, and we was playing this Saturday morning, as you did do, and there was a guy, we got beat 6-0, and a guy called Terry Connor, he scored 4. He was a coloured guy, and he was like lightning, and he scored 4. And the following week, he made his debut for Leeds first team. So that was, at that time, Northern Intermediate.
Good standard.
It was very, very good standard. You sometimes went from there straight into the first team. That was the standard at that time, the Northern Intermediate League. So yeah, we came against some good sides. We played against the Sheffield sides and things like that. So yeah, so at that time, that's when I said, this is what I want to do. Being told I'm not good enough, I sobbed all the way back. My dad was in the car and he says, "You've got to prove them wrong. You know, you've got to work harder. You've got to prove them wrong." And that starts now. If you want to do it, that's what you've got to do.
And what did that involve? That's what you've got to do. What did it involve? Because Porterfield said, "I don't want you."
I don't want you.
So
what happened then? I went to Bradford. I went to Bradford City on non-contract forms. And as I went there,
what age again, Chris? At this point,
I'm 16.
Right.
I'm 16.
So have you left school?
I've just left school.
Yeah.
I've got a job for Derbyshire County Council at 16, on the roads, doing roadworks. I had to go to college to do City and Guilds roadworks, and that's at the time then where I'd been playing quite a bit of, as I say, of cricket for the Colts and things. And at that time, when I just started work, I was asked to play second team. So that was the next stage, was second team. And that was when John had just started. John was the same year, so John Morris just left school. So I remember.
Who made the call then? Who told you you'd got?
It was JD, just JD at that time, and obviously he was helping out the second team with Phil Russell, and they'd seen a potential, must have seen a potential, and yeah, I think I heard rumours that, you know, this is the guy who's going to follow
the great Bob. Well, he was at the time, because Mike Deakin had been on the staff, hadn't he?
Yeah, Mike Deakin had been on and Bernie was the older one. Bernie was the older one who'd been on the staff a couple of years, and obviously he wanted to keep wicket for Derbyshire. He wanted to play, and I think in Bob's latter years he suffered with a few injuries and missed a few games, and that's when I got an opportunity to play second team.
Do you remember your debut?
Yeah, Findon.
Northampton,
which included people like Dave Capel, Rod Bailey,
Oh, really?
people like that. And I'll just turn this off.
It's all right. We have this happen all the time, don't we?
Yeah. So it was people like that. Very competitive. You know, second team cricket that time. It wasn't mainly kids. It was people who was on a lot of staff players. The staffs were bigger at that time.
Who was playing in Derbyshire side then that day? Can you remember?
Derbyshire, right. Steve Farrell,
Oh yeah.
Brooksy,
Kevin Brooks.
Kevin Brooks, Ian Anderson played, I think. John Morris was a young lad who scored heavily.
Yeah.
And I remember him getting a king pair at Findon. I will remember John getting a king pair. So yeah, people like that. So
Who were you keeping to? Who were the bowlers? Who were the?
Brooks, Andy Watts,
Oh yeah.
them guys. So they was all in the second team, I think, at that game. So I enjoyed, you know, just going out. But
Did you get any runs?
do you know? I ain't sure. I think I got a few.
You
I
got
know.
more than John.
Yeah, I got more. I faced more balls than John anyway. If I didn't get no runs, I got more balls. I faced more balls. But yeah, so and that was, you know, we stopped away, and that was my first experience of stopping away with pros and seeing the life, what it was, and just seeing them guys in the brown blazers with the Derbyshire,
Yeah.
you know, badge on, and I wanted that more than anything at that time, and yeah, that was the time when I you know, the cricket, I thought, this is what I want. You know.
Were you aware you were following in the footsteps of one of the greats in taking,
Yeah.
but also that there was a challenge with Bernie Mayer being
Yeah,
around?
to be quite honest, no disrespect to Bernie, I didn't see it as a challenge to Bernie. I wanted Bob's.
Yeah.
I wanted to play straight after, and so yeah, you know, that was the time when I thought, oh, this is what I want to do, and I trained, you know, that time, and but not in depth. I didn't train. I didn't practice in depth. It was just enjoy what you're doing. Everything started to come into place. Football. It was when Bob decided he was going to retire. I remember playing a Tilcon Trophy game before that.
You played, was it
At,
Harrogate?
Harrogate.
Yeah, that
Harrogate.
was your first Derbyshire
That was
game,
my
wasn't
first
it?
Derbyshire game, yeah. And I drove up, and this characters like Tunners and Jeff and all there. And I remember getting up there to Harrogate and having a meal, and them starting to take the mickey a little bit. And I thought, this is a dressing room. This is a first team dressing room. This is what it's going to be
What
like.
year was that?
81 or 82.
Because 81 was the year we won the Net West. I mean, we got eight either Test or future Test players in that side. It was a very strong team.
Yeah, it was a strong
side. It
side.
was 81 or 2.
But I was a member with my dad, and you know, so in them years, I remember watching a Gillette Cup semi-final at Queen's Park.
75 Middlesex.
Yeah, I remember seeing that, and by watching cricket and seeing all that, that's when I wanted to do what I wanted to replicate what they're doing, and all my life was you know, to do that.
Who was skippering you in the seconds?
Phil Russell, I think.
Was Phil?
Because Phil, I think,
Yeah.
yeah, because Phil was the one who played as coach. He was the one who played as well. So yeah, I think it was Phil Russell. I think he
Because Bud did that subsequently, didn't
Bud
he?
did it after when he retired. I was when I was on this when I joined the staff. You know, that was Bud. I think was Bob was the first one. Bob was the first second team next one, and he came as second team coach and helped me massively.
And how did that contract come about then? What was
Well, what
that?
happened was, obviously, Bob had decided that he was retiring. That just left Bernie, and obviously they went with two keepers at that time. They asked me to sign a contract, which I was more than willing to do.
Who was doing this? Who was talking to you then?
I think it was Phil mainly, and Roger Pearman.
Yeah.
Roger Pearman was the chief exec at the time, and they drafted a contract, and I signed that. And then that was done probably in the September before my return date was the 1st of April. It was probably done before that, July time, I think. I know, because what happened then was quite strange, because I still wanted to play football. And I was at Bradford, playing on a non-contract basis. And we played Chesterfield at Bradford. And John Duncan at the time was the manager. And he'd seen what I was playing. And again, something similar. Somebody got injured, or somebody left the club down there, which only left Jim Brown. And they asked they wanted a young goalkeeper, and they asked me if I'd sign. So I'd signed my cricket contract to start in April. And my football contract, I went more or less straight in, and signed a contract and went training the following day or something like that. Was something very, very strange like that happened. Anyway, I think it was 4 games into the season, Jim Brown, who was goalkeeper, he was commercial manager at Chesterfield. He'd played for Scotland and played for Sheffield United and been successful. He'd had a big career. And 4 games in, he broke a finger on a Thursday night. He used to train Thursday night with the kids, with the other non-contract players. He used to train Thursday night, and he broke a finger. So I went in training on the Friday, and the gaffer says, Jim's broke a finger, you're playing tomorrow. So I think I was 18, just about to turn 19. And all of a sudden, I'm starting to get nervous. I've never been nervous as much before. Even when I played the Tilcombe Trophy game, which was before, I wasn't nervous. I wasn't nervous playing second team, but playing football, first game away at Bury. Leighton James played for them. Leighton James played for them. He was
evening game, or
no, it was a Saturday. It was a Saturday. It was a Friday, I was told, and I was quite a smoker at that time as well. And the gaffer said to me, John Duncan said, just do what you normally do on a Friday. And I says, yeah, but I go to Hideaway for a beer. And he says, well, if you want to go and just relax, and I used to go down with my dad. It wasn't, I didn't used to go down with a group of lads and have a fair few. I used to go and I used to have a couple of pints with my dad. It was probably my dad's only night they used to go out. We used to go down, and there'd probably be 6 or 7 of us, and we'd talk football and we'd talk, what was happening that weekend. I went home and I said to my dad, I says, I'm playing tomorrow. He went, you are joking? I went, no. He says, well, what's gone off? I says, Jim's broke a finger, so I'm in the side, and we was playing Bury away, so I say. At that time, my dad was he'd been packed up smoking for quite a fair few number of years. We go to Bury, I'm on the team bus, characters crazy. The Chesterfield side had so many characters. It was untrue. Bob Newton, who was the first one to take the mick out of anybody. Some good players. John Matthews was in the side, who played for Arsenal. So again, so I'm a young lad and I'm on the bus, and the gaff said, just relax, just calm yourself down. And I got the bus window up and I'm smoking on back at bus on a team bus going to a football ground, which would never be heard on now. It would never be heard of, and I got there, and as we approaching ground, and one of the lads said, where's ground? I said, it's here, look. Oh yeah, of course it is, and so a lot of mickey taken. It put me at ease. My dad went up to the ground, up to the game with my sister. They're all Chesterfield supporters. They're both season ticket holders now. And better times then than what they are now, by the way, at Chesterfield. But that's another matter. But no, so they was all up there. And my grandma used to go. Now my grandma, my mum's dad it was, and she wasn't a football fan, but she just loved going out. My granddad had not been very well at that time, and he was. So she used to go out on a Saturday, and she went to the game anyway. I remember my dad saying he walked into the ground, and he says, and his knees were clicking together. He was nervous. I was in the warm up, and he seen me in the warm up, and he did no more. He asked if he could go and get a pass out after not smoking for 10 or 12 years. He got a pass out and went and bought 20 cigarettes and smoked them all within.
Really?
Yeah, within the game. He was nervous. So yeah, I was nervous, and we actually drew the game 0-0. And then I had a wonder goal. And I remember Leighton James coming up to me after, and he said, have you had a bet on football today? I went, no. He says, you should have done. He says, because I guarantee you'd have won. It was one of them games where, as a debut, everything went right. I stopped 3 or 4 attempts, which should have been goals, and it was just one of those guys. And so that was the start of the football. So again, I used to train football, but still looking forward to April the 1st. So bearing in mind my contract, because I was a young lad, and your contract runs to July the 31st of football, July the 31st. My contract at that time was £40 a week. I got appearance and this is how daft it was, my appearance to play first team at Chesterfield was £90 a game.
Really?
And we was on £30 a point. If we was in the top 4, we was on £30 a point. Top 3 was on £30 a point. We'd had a good start to the season, and so yeah, so we'd won, and I think that was after 4 games. So yeah, so I ended up earning 3 times as much as my wage on 1 game.
Yeah.
And then we played Darlington midweek. So, you know, from being £40, but then from April the 1st, because Derbyshire got the rights. They signed the contract first. So on April the 1st, no matter what, I had to report to Derby on the 1st of April. So Chesterfield had no money. It was a poor club, and they took me on, you know, as a young lad, not knowing if I was going to make the grade, but gave me an opportunity, which I was always grateful for from John Duncan, and you know, and so from April the 1st, my contract till July the 31st was £1 a week, and that remained, and I ended up playing. I mean, there was 4 games there. So I missed the first. I think it was 44 games.
So that £1 a week was like a retainer.
That was £1 a week was a retainer to keep me there.
You under a contract.
Under contract. Yeah.
So you've made your debut in football. So when does your cricket debut come? Because presumably you're playing twos cricket.
Yeah, playing twos cricket, and at this time, well, just before that, I started playing twos cricket the year before, because when I was on the council, Derbyshire County Council, I was asked to play twos cricket quite regularly.
Can I just ask, Chris, were you playing league cricket as well? Did you have time to fit league cricket as
well? Chesterfield.
Right, okay.
Chesterfield.
Right, okay.
At that time. Or was it Chesterfield? No, it might have been Claycross Works.
Right.
Might have been Claycross Works at that time.
So you're still managing to.
So I'm still playing club cricket there, league
cricket
cricket there. I'm still playing club cricket at Claycross Works, because that was where I was living. I was living just outside Claycross, and a lot of my mates played down there, so I played in there. That was 1B, which was the 1A was the top league in the Notts and Derby Border League at that time. So I was playing that, which was great. So yeah, that season I actually played. I kept my place in the side all season, keeping 28 clean sheets out of 38 games. I kept 28 clean sheets, which was the best record in the league. So that's where everything else comes a little bit. Everything was happening. Everything was happening. Everything was clicking into place. What I'd worked for, what I'd hoped for, not so much I'd worked for, because I felt that I'd probably a lot more talent than most, and didn't work as much as I should. So that was the start of it. And I missed 2 games during Christmas. I had a car accident and damaged my shoulder, and I missed 2 games leading up to Christmas, and then I was back for Boxing Day, and then I completed that season, which we went on and won the league. We won the championship. Then I reported. So what I was doing then, I reported on the 1st of April, and to be quite fair to Derbyshire, they understood that I was.
Which season are we looking at there, Chris?
That would be, was it 84 I started playing with Derbyshire, 85 was it? So it was 84, 85 cricket, football, 84, 85 football, so this would be 85. So I'd be coming up to, I'd be 19.
Well, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut you off there, Chris, because we're running out of time on this particular interview, because I know 1985, some fascinating characters at Derbyshire, a new captain, and lots of stories, I'm sure. So we'll come back in a minute just to get your take on your debut and what life was like at Derbyshire in 1985.
Fantastic.
Thanks again.
Great.